Alright, well, I've done a lot of practice arena, and that's fine. That's fine. You should probably start with practice arena, but really the meat and potatoes of this game is the main arena, you know, the career arena. Now, this mode I've pretty much more or less beaten. I have a full roster, but the point is that I wanted to show you is that there's a lot of interesting weapons in this mode that are surprisingly effective. And I think the first one I would show you, the first weapon that's surprisingly effective and punches up very well, is the Cudgel. The Cudgel is available from the very start. It's an Inept weapon, but it punches up very well. Aspirant is good too, and the reason it's really good is that it's fast and it does a lot of damage. It's kind of like a faster maul, and it doesn't do that much less damage. I mean, I'm not really demonstrating very well right now, but let me kind of get into the swing of things. Forgive the pun. But you can see you can have insane wind-ups with it, right? You got the powerful overhead swing of it too. I think one-on-one it would be much more illustrative than these freight combats. Let's see, can I get a elimination? Yeah. So this is an inept weapon in aspirant, and you will see that it is quite good. This guy is doing a good job. Knockdown effect, excellent knockdown effect. Even at low velocities, good knockdown effect. Fast overhead swing, faster than the maul. Again, good knockdown effect. Fast overhead means you finish them off fast. The downside, pretty bad block. Like all slow. It's not as slow as the maul, sledgehammer maul. What is it called? Probably the sledgehammer. But the iron version of this, it's much slower, much worse at blocking. This isn't bad at blocking. It's not good at blocking. It's not bad at blocking. But it's a very mobile little weapon. Surprisingly quick. Very quick. I mean, the only downside compared to its big brother, the sledgehammer, is it doesn't do as much damage. I'm not sure if you really need it though. Alright, once they're getting too close, you got a little move too. Stab attack. The stab is very not good on this weapon though, due to the fact that it doesn't have very much mass at the end. It doesn't do that much blunt damage when you stab with it, so that's probably the main drawback it has. So let's give it a elimination at its own rating, which is I mean it's just laughable because it's so freaking good. At its own rating, I feel it's kind of even unfair. I missed, but that's fine. So you can just see the knockdown, powerful, very powerful. Now I used to dismiss this weapon. I used to think it's crap, because I had this idea that the sledgehammer is bad, so this is just a worse sledgehammer, so how could it possibly be good? And the sledgehammer it's not bad, it's not good either though. But this weapon is actually good. I kind of suspect that it's probably better than the sledgehammer even at the aspirant rating, just because it's faster. I put a lot of value into speed. The two things I kind of value the most is speed and knockdown ability. That's why the same thing with the rusty two-handed sword. I think it's better than the other swords up until the last tier where you get the great sword, the heavy great sword that has a good knockdown. That one's pretty good. But all the intermediate swords between the rusty sword and the heavy great sword are, I think they're junk. Now for expert and master, I think without a doubt, the Polehammer is by far the best weapon, by far. Again, same reasons. It's, in this case, it's not fast, but it's fast enough not to be at a disadvantage. You can see it's still pretty dang fast. It's just not as quick as some of the other weapons, but the main thing is knockdown ability and damage, right? And reach. I mean, it has everything going for it. Also has a good block. And I mean, you can see, you see an opening, you go for the opening. It's so good. It's the best weapon in the game. My opinion, of course, but I think it's hard to argue with that. Especially since at these higher tiers, blunt damage is also dominant. And it's a blunt weapon. Alright, I'm getting too greedy because I just wanna do that. Alright, so there's the heavy greatsword. Also pretty decent weapon. It's fast. Fast, decent reach. Good block. Not that time. So you can see he can cancel his attacks and block very quickly. So, good weapon. This is just a joke. Watch, I'll get killed. You can also really kind of control your distance with this because you have a really quick left to right swing. Your right to left swing is not as good. I mean, it's not gonna... I think you kind of get spoiled with this weapon, right? That kind of thing. So the right to left is kind of for chipping away at opponents, but when you want to just take a dude down, it's either left or right or just overhead. You get so much damage out of it. Alright, so that's kind of self-explanatory. For Novice, by far the best weapon is the spear. It has reach advantage over everything. It's pretty quick, and since, you know, no one armors their head yet, you can do that. You know, 2 pokes, they're dead. Headshotting is so easy with this thing compared to really any other weapon. And you'd think that it would be a limited weapon, right? Once they get close, you're screwed. Nope. You can do that too. And when they're getting close, stab low. Stab low. Stab low and stab low. And it's such a flexible weapon, and it's such an aggressive weapon, you know. You can just keep, and it even has some knockdown like that. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a really good weapon. Now, other spears are dangerous because you don't have enough armor to really deflect the spear at this rating. So in Novice and Adept, it's kind of the king. Now in Expert it does fall off pretty quickly, but I mean, as long as you're fighting against limited armor, it's so good. I mean, look at this. You don't really even have to try that hard. You kind of alright. See, I mean, this weapon is almost easy mode. Honestly, it's just so trivial. I kind of don't enjoy it anymore because of that. But At these tiers, other opponents use the spear a lot, so I don't know. It's when I want to unwind and, you know, not have to think too much about anything. This is my go-to. This is the weapon that doesn't require much thinking. You also gotta love how many blood decals it can sometimes create if you're hitting just the armor. Because the armor does seem to absorb a lot of it, but the face obviously does not. I also feel like with stabbing you can aim, I mean, it's not even feel like this, it's kind of a fact. You can aim so much better with stabbing. I think there needs to be some kind of method to control the height of your swings, because the amount of control you gain with stabbing, I think, is the big reason for why the spear is so good, is it gives you a lot of the control you lose with other weapons. And just a little pro tip, you can kill this guy to your heart's content, and he will respawn every time you come back out of whatever event you are doing. Now, like I said before, the spear is great, but what makes it, you know, beyond great, what makes it kind of a legendary weapon, is it's great for skirmishes, because the AI, kind of like you, mostly uses it for stabbing, so you have way less friendly fire. It's the best weapon in Novice, and you also don't have friendly fire. Like, how much better can it get, right? So that guy is using the two-handed spear, nowhere near as good as the one-handed spear. It feels slower. I don't think it has much more reach, if at all. And you don't get it, you know, your defense sucks because you don't have a shield or a second weapon. You can use a second weapon with this spear. Also very good. I might actually show that to you. I think I have a setup of that. So you can see, check out the weapons of the enemy, right? They were all clean, no blood. So with the spear, not only do we not friendly fire each other, but we also kind of tend to gank someone, kind of just gang up on them and just kill them one by one. So it's very good for your NPC companions, because they're at much less risk of being hurt. So that's the spear for you. Okay, I've talked about the spear enough, and I've kind of overhyped it a little bit, because it is the best weapon for Novice, bar none. It is very solid for Adept. It's even very solid for Skirmish Adept. Probably the best for skirmishes. But one-on-one, I don't think it is the best for Adept, because there is something even more overpowered. It is new. It's a new addition. It is the one and only, the Flail. Why is it so good? Simple. Difficult to block. The head is kind of unpredictable, and it also, even if the AI steps into you, it often curves into their back and hits them anyways. So they can't block you with their body a lot of the time. So your effective range is point blank, and, you know, at the very end of the Flail's range, it's hard to block, you have a lot of range, and you swing quickly. It's just good all around. I think the only competition it gets is this weapon, right? The mace is good. It's very good. In fact, you can easily beat master difficulty with it. You can beat practice arena with it easily. And the main advantage with the mace is one simple move. It's that you can keep advancing with it and stabbing, and you block as you stab. And this is a very difficult move for the AI to block. When that's not working, Shallow swing. Shallow swing, shallow swing, shallow swing. You just hug up against the opponent, keep hitting them, and you'll kill them. But it's just not as idiot-proof as the flail. The flail you don't need a strategy for. You can pretty much do anything with it except for stab. Stabbing sucks. Overhead is okay, but if you go right to left, left to right, it's idiot-proof. Idiot-proof, you will win 9 out of 10 battles even if you're not very good at the game. If you're good at the game, you'll win 10 out of 10. It's just that good. And it's so good, in fact, that I'm pretty sure it's good. It's even good for master. It's easily a great weapon even for master difficulty. It takes a while to chip away at people, sure, but it's good. Especially with a good shield. I mean, it's blunt. Blunt means it goes for plate pretty decently. You know, you get a shield with it. You can hide behind it. You can play the long game. You know, you get hit in the shield, drains your stamina. You retreat a bit, and you come back to it. Because any damage you're doing to them is gonna last way longer than shield fatigue. Yeah, at Master you just have to be a bit slower with it, a bit more methodical. But, you know. So one strategy I think I've never mentioned before is... Oh shit, I'm getting ganged up on. Alright, hold on. I'll have to talk about it a bit later. Shit. Alright. The strategy I wanted to tell you about is with the shield, kind of block at the last moment. You kind of have to just get your motor memory used to this, but block with the edge at the last moment, because what I found is when you do that, you create an opening. It's kind of hard to replicate it every time, but when you get it right, you'll know you got it right. It's a very good strategy. It pretty much gives you a free hit, but I can't execute it every time. It's more of a side. When they do a quick right to left, you can get it, but when I get it right, you'll see it. I got it right once in that battle, and it was good. One question you probably have is, should you do dual flails? And it's funny as a meme, but I think it's not a great strategy, because I found that the flail has pretty bad blocking. It's not very good for blocking, so when you have two flails, your blocking suffers a lot. So this is best. See, you can see that the head is totally unpredictable. It's just going everywhere but the shield. It's going around the shield. It's kind of curving out. So yeah, I've said enough about that. It's good. It's great. Alright, so the last style I would like to show you, the last weapon, is something you would probably not expect. It's not good, but you should try it, because in the long run it'll make you a much better player. And it is drum roll, the one and only, the fists. And the fists stay relevant throughout all the tiers, because they are blunt damage. Blunt damage gets through armor. And they do start doing less damage, but the thing is, once you get close, you start hitting them a lot. So really, the main thing you gotta do is get in close. But there are some problems. the enemy is not defenseless when you're getting close. What happens is you start going at them right linearly, and you start wailing on them, correct? First of all, they'll start ducking. When an enemy is hit, they kind of duck their head, and that means they're hard to hit, and you don't want to use a short character for fighting, because that means your fists will be short, it'll be hard to get in and hit them. So you'll be using a tall character, but they're ducking, so your fists go over them. That's a problem. Second problem is they will dodge to the left or to the right and counter swing into you as you approach them. Very powerful technique. You should also use it against the AI. Very effective against aggressive AI. So you're playing the aggressive AI and they counter swing into you. You don't have a very good way to block. You know, you only have your fists. And basically the problem is they can either go left or right, left or right, and you can't predict it. If you go right, they just counter swing into you and they hit you. So you're doing a gamble when you do that. You'll get hit half the time, right? You'll mathematically get hit half the time. So with fists, it's very dangerous. You can't get too aggressive with them, but at the same time you can't get too defensive because you're outranged. So it's not a great weapon, but it develops a lot of skills. A lot of skills that you'll find useful for other weapons. So I definitely recommend people check them out. The other thing, I kind of haven't perfected this technique yet, and I don't think it's really possible, but when someone swings at you, you can definitely dodge under it. This is kind of a tall character, but you can kind of dodge under it as your step and dodge. Don't just step and crouch, but don't just crouch. For some reason, stepping and crouching is kind of more effective than just crouching. It's faster. They don't get a beat on you as well. Okay, so that's when I kind of broke it off because I felt like he was gonna sidestep and swing. So as long as you have the fight under control, fists are very good. The problem is you won't sometimes it just, especially for quicker weapons, you lose control. You lose control, and you know, you just can't. You sometimes just lose control of the fight. You also have this uppercut. You sometimes should use it. It's a very short range, slow attack, but it sometimes gets through their block. So the fist, you kind of have two main modes of attack. You have your short right swing, your shallow strike, as I call them, with weapons. And that's excellent for combos. As you just saw, you can very quickly wear anyone down if you can keep hitting them, because they can, like I said, you can kind of lose track of them. Then you got your uppercut, quick attack, goes low, so very hard to dodge, but kind of slow to wind up. And you also have kind of your left to right, I would call it like a haymaker, I suppose. Let's go ahead and do another one. I am wounded, but whatever. Your haymaker, right? Harder to land. It develops your accuracy a little bit more. So when you get it, it's a very good attack. Now, crap. When you get close to them, you kind of might think that you should start going left, right, you know, how you would do it in a real fight. But I find that there's kind of a very big discrepancy in where your left goes and your right goes, so it sometimes works like that, but it's hard to aim, especially when they're moving. I find it's easier to just keep attacking with the same. You have to kind of adapt to the situation, but I end up just doing many shallow right strikes and using the left jab as kind of a way to close the range. That guy was wearing pajamas. What is he doing wearing pajamas to a fight? What a silly man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to let this guy rest after these bouts. Alright, so let's look at one more weapon. Again, low tier weapon. It's gonna be the staff. The quarterstaff. Really not much to say about this one. It's fast, it hits hard. The wind up is quick, you have a good stab. I mean, stab is a little bit hard to aim, but it's good. Left to right is good. It's just good all around. Just like my outfit. Here we go. Solid stab. And very cinematic death. Very good. Very, very good. Alright, let's do a full elimination staff run. I mean, pretty perfect newbie weapon, honestly. Very forgiving. Good knockdown. I mean, it's just everything's good. Good block too. Really, the main problem is when you start fighting other staves, because they can screw you up as well. Stabbing weapon is also kind of dangerous with this weapon because it's not very good. Well, no weapon really, except for shields are the only thing that are good for blocking stabs. But I guess if I had to pick out a flaw with this weapon is that it's kind of weird at blocking and inconsistent. And the range isn't great when you compare it with the stick. The stick is definitely also a good weapon, but it's kind of lost favor for me compared to the cudgel and the staff. But this is basically what I've been talking about, stepping back and counter swinging, right? You can just completely destroy an aggressive AI that way. And in the early tiers, the AI is quite aggressive. So, missed that one, but with the early tiers, I feel you can kind of wait for the AI to attack you and just counter attack. You don't have to get too aggressive. So if you're just starting the game, play defensively. It's a much easier style to adapt to. Aggressive style is a little bit more difficult. You're more liable to get hit. It's kind of more chaotic, but yeah. Alright, so let's do a skirmish with the spear. Sorry, with the staff. Now with the staff, one thing you can do, which I haven't really shown you, is you can do a massive wind up. Like that. And that's a very powerful attack. Let me actually show you the big. It's kind of difficult to accomplish, but it's very interesting. I think it's kind of unique to the staff. Let me actually try to show it to you. So the wind up is we go like so. Kind of drag it like that, you know? You drag it from the deep right forward like so. One thing I've kind of not mentioned also with stabbing, I haven't mentioned a lot of things, but with stabbing, you don't have to keep it static. You can kind of wiggle it a little bit as you attack, and it doesn't lose that much power when you do that. it gives you more chance to hit them when you do it that way. So if you wiggle it a little bit, you kind of get more out of it. So let's try the try some of these techniques here. Also in Fray, when you're interrupting a fight, just hit both of them. Probably an obvious thing to do, but you're making your job easier, you know? Alright, I'll just let them finish each other off. No sexual pun intended, or maybe it was intended. Who knows? Let's see if I can get the... I'm just getting greedy. Like, I just want to get one attack where it's right in the face of the end of the staff. That's kind of what I want to finish the video on, but I'm not sure if it's gonna let me. No, not quite what I wanted. One thing that I kind of don't do very much, because I don't think it's that effective, I kind of mostly feign by accident rather by design. Feigning is good, but it's very situational, so I kind of don't think about it very much. And I think it's better that way, because it's not a great strategy on its own. Because the AI kind of, for feigning to work, the AI kind of has to already be attacking. So it's attacking, then blocking your feint, and then your actual attack goes through, right? So that's why it's so situational, because you kind of have a lot of parameters that have to go right. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it if you've gone this far. This is not the main style of content for this channel, definitely not. I'm glad if you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, I'm glad, but check out my other videos. They are very good. They're very interesting. I only post up stuff that I personally enjoy watching, so you should definitely check it out. Thank you.